All right, guys, let's get airborne. Dow just went through down 1,000. What an epic day here! Another day when people are jumping out of windows and we're printing money. So really happy with what's going on. We called it last week with the Wall Street Journal article on Thursday that said, "Wow, people are actually shorting volatility here," and the problem is people are not even close to being complacent. I said, "That's it. Here it comes." And then Friday it started to come. So we'll talk about that in a couple of seconds. Let me talk through some of these administrative items. So tomorrow night, full throttle live training is going to start 7 p.m. Eastern, Tuesdays and Thursdays. Usually, I think in 2 weeks, I'm flying up to Alabama for a weekend of formation training. So I don't know if I'm going to be doing it that Thursday, but we'll just keep you updated via these live briefs and also the emails. Kevin, we'll get to Friday. Yeah, I actually went flying on Friday, but let me finish this stuff up. Based on a couple folks looking at airfare, the initial date we put out in April was going to be a little expensive. So, again, I'd rather just hang out with you guys and have a drink and talk through stuff, and you all get to meet each other. So the Friday, Saturday of April 17, 18 is what we're going to do. So booking spaces, booking room. We're going to figure out about a group roommate and stuff like this. Probably going to be at the same place it was last time, and so really looking forward to that. So 17 April is at the VIP dinner Friday night. We'll give you all the details to come still. We'll have a page up and shopping cart and all that type of stuff. 17 will be VIP, and then 18 will be the kind of full day of briefings and stuff like that. We're in Boca, God's waiting room, which is in between Fort Lauderdale and West Palm. So just take a look at airfare. Some folks last time flew into, cool, Kathy, there you go. It's your birthday. Make sure you come. We'll celebrate your birthday. Yeah, so should be a good time. Some folks flew into Miami last time, but it's about 45 minutes. 45 minutes in good weather. You add a raindrop, and it's 8 days to get from Miami to up here. I mean, I-95 is the only route between here and Miami. I'm Doc Bergman, who's down in Miami, actually. Who's hopefully going to be pitching in to help with our foundation, is probably my last coaching client for a while. If we haven't kind of touched base recently, to if you're interested in coaching type of thing, if I haven't talked to you, I'm probably shutting down here, man. My bandwidth is just, especially with the foundation, Top Gun Fighter Foundation, getting airborne. So, and there's going to be a price increase. I just can't. It's gonna go up. So if we haven't talked coaching, or if you're interested in coaching, you gotta talk to me this week, because I'm going to close the doors on the coaching program, because I just can't. I mean, the quality will suffer if I take on more coaching folks. Okay. So, what else did I have on there? Yeah, actually, so a couple things. So, Thursday, I actually met with my attorneys, got our IRS stuff, open bank account. I mean, this thing's been literally a pain in the ass. And then the day after I get, I guess legally, our foundation airborne, one of my good friends put a bullet in his head. F-18 pilot, a loving husband, father of two, put a bullet in his head. Literally a day after I get this foundation airborne to try and help prevent veteran suicide. Buster, or Hermit Crab, great American, great father, great dude. Just it's tragic. It's I'm losing count of buddies that aren't here anymore. We've lost more people in peace than we do in combat. It's absolutely horrific. So yeah, what more to come on the foundation. I'm going to do it like the Mothers Against Drunk Driving. Like, for example, your annual membership, if you donate your annual membership to Top Gun Fighter Foundation, first of all, you get a big charity deduction, and we'll match that there. So we'll do the same thing that we've been doing with the Mothers Against Drunk Driving. I just got to go heads down this week for a little bit to make sure that thing gets airborne. So that was Thursday. So if you guys asked if I was traveling Friday, there you go. So that's what we did Friday, Saturday, man. Friday, Saturday, took the L-39 up, and we did some formation flying with the this used to be the Dash jet, but he sold it. They painted it, good stuff, and we had a great day flying down here in South Florida. That was Friday and Saturday, and then yesterday, my daughter Keely Grace won a national championship in cheerleading. So Friday, I'm actually, this is pretty funny. The whole you can trade from anywhere, because I'm sitting in the back seat of the L39 at about 10:32, I think it was. I'm sitting there in the back of the jet as he's starting up, looking at my trades. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to get out of all these things. So, thank God I did. I got out for really nice profits on Friday, and by the time we landed up in Vero Beach to get some lunch, and I pulled out my phone, I'm like, oh, woohoo! Thank God. So that was pretty nice. Okay. Now, there's been a lot of comments. Let me scroll back and answer some of these, because what do we talk about here? Let me go up here. Danny, wow, up 5,500 bucks today and counting. Wiz, my friend, you are the bomb. Thank you, my friend. 168% on Gilead, freaking awesome. Yep. Joseph, Wiz, bunch of FXI spreads and puts you put on my account. They execute trade. I own. Joe, I can't tell from that trade. First of all, I can't tell you what to do. Should I get out? I have no idea if you should get out or stay in. You have to come up with your own SOP, whether it's profit or loss. So are you short those shares or are you long those? So I can't really answer that. We'll talk about space in a couple minutes here. Jeff, wasn't so longs. I strategically placed some new shorts. Nice $30,000 day Friday and $60,000 day so far today. Holy crap. There's Jeff, guys. Nice job, Jeff. You've been doing some great work, man. That last time we did that pullback, what'd you do? You were like 77 grand in a day or something like that. You sent me an email. So nicely done, man. That is awesome. So nice job. So that's Jeff. Let me go through this stuff and then we'll get started, guys. David, we'll talk about space. Jeff, my neighbor works in international logistics. Their company has hundreds of thousands of shipping containers they rent to people to ship things. He told me yesterday they were out of containers because they are full of crap sitting on the docks and ships not being unloaded. He said they have a real problem. He said nothing is coming in the ports of California and they can't get any contract truck drivers to take loads to California because there's nothing to haul back. Wow. Holy crap. Scott, yes, I sold my Gilead calls. I said that about 20 minutes ago. Made 172%, 8,200 bucks in under a week. So I'm out of the Gilead calls. I actually am looking at a bearish weekly options trade on it in a second here. Jingbo, what would be our profit target for the Gilead put option? I have no idea what you're talking about. Since we don't have a Gilead puts on, we have Gilead calls on, and I don't know what your profit target is. My profit target, I hit it. It was over 170%. I actually tried to get out of Gilead at the open. It was 9,200 bucks, 200%. I just never got filled, and then eventually I just got out of them because I knew Gilead's not going to escape a 1,000-point sell-off in the Dow. Jonathan, is it PTSD that hurts pilots? It's a lot of stuff, man. I've buried in 15 years of naval aviation now. I think the total, my math was wrong. I thought it was 14 people. I was going through my old journals the other night from the Navy as I was cleaning up my office. About 17 guys. In 15 years, I lost 17 buddies flying fighter jets. And they, not one combat loss. Bill, yep, L-39 Albatross. All right. Let me get going here. It was up in Palm Beach, Craig. Jan, what brief did I do on Gilead and SPX? It's right here. It's sitting in the right there. 18. This is the weekly options. It was the joint weekly options and primary live trade brief last week. 18 February, joint weekly and primary live trade brief. New FXI, Gilead, and Apple spreads. So it was last Tuesday we did. Gilead and the SPX calls. I've been telling you to keep those on each week. So we'll talk about those in a couple seconds. A couple more, and then we have to get airborne. What would you do with FXI after today's sell-off? Let me skip some of these tactical questions to when we get to trading. Same thing in Miami ports, exactly. Oof. Yeah, Dutch, it sucks. I know there's the same thing in law enforcement. I mean, hell, the New York city police department just is horrific. Holy crap. Look at the S&P 5. Look at these puts, the 3,200 puts. All right, I'm getting out of these, man. 17,500 bucks. Actually, you know what? So listen to me, guys. If you want to trade right now, I'd be buying puts with both hands on the S&P 500. We are not going to get a bounce into the close. Can anybody tells me what happens at 2:30 this afternoon? What happens at 2:30 this afternoon, guys? Hopefully not to anybody in this room because you're smart and you've been listening to me. What if I pounded the table for 2-3 weeks? Get long S&P 500 puts and volatility. Nope. Well, yeah, Joe, the Fed might jump in. The answer is no. It's margin calls. People that, holy crap, $18,000 on those puts. I am up. I'm getting out of these right now. I'm going to take the money and run. I think holy crap. So margin calls, folks. Margin calls are going to obliterate people this afternoon. And I am taking a victory lap, SPX, because folks, we talked about this. How many briefs last week and this week did I say what? Jeff got out of your FX action, nice profit, awesome. So yeah, folks, margin calls. So we should see the market get slammed into the close. So you could even buy some puts for today, the S&P 500 puts. So yeah, you're welcome, man. That's exactly right. If you listen to me, you should be printing money today. Absolutely printing money. Especially, I didn't get filled out on my most recent VIX calls I wanted to get filled on. I had some on before. Look at the VIX today, folks. 35%. Holy crap, never mind. 51% gain in the VIX. What did I tell you on Thursday? I said this VIX is going higher and going to explode. Holy shit, man, something's going on. Now you're getting liquidation selling. I'm not going to sell those S&P 500 puts. Okay. Daryl, you see all the risk in these positions. Most of the risk is around $5,000. Some of the Gilead calls were $5,000. You can see on all these things. The S&P 500 puts that I actually did $15,000 because what did I say last week as I watched the replay? I said I am staying. What was the ratio I said last week? Yeah. Oh, Ron, you got $11,000 on the VIX. Nice job. What did I say last week? My ratio was. I went from 50-50 to what? 60-40, folks. Cash. Knew this was going to happen. And then the other quote that I wrote down from last week was what? Don't wait for me. When you see the market implode, fire! Exclamation point. I wrote my exact sentences down. Did everybody? Does that give me exactly? Give me a vertical head nod. That's exactly what I said. I said, when this market implodes, it's going to be violent and it's going to be immediate. Don't be sitting there waiting for me, folks. Everybody should have been prepared for this. Everybody. If you didn't listen to me, I can't help you out. Okay. Arthur, how long do I think the sell-off is going to last? Well, let's get strategic here. We got to everybody throttle back and let's calm down here. But I think, you could buy puts to the end of the day, man. It just depends on what you want to do, folks. This is trading. This is not investing. And all the idiots on CNBC are sitting here like, wow, this is kind of trading now. And I'm a long-term. You saw Warren Buffett and shit like that. They are getting destroyed today. So these are the same folks that say this is a great time to buy stuff. Most of them are saying don't buy this dip. However, we are in uncharted territory, folks. Right? Uncharted territory. So let's just brief first. Thursday, I told you this, man. Go watch Thursday's weekly debrief. And some of you might not be in the Thursday debrief service. That's because it's full. But on Thursday, we did our weekly debrief, and I did it, man. I sounded the alarm and said, how many times do I brief you on an article like this, and 2 days later, the market implodes? That's exactly what happened. We briefed Thursday morning, and by Friday, and then now look at us down, 1050 on the Dow. Okay. Can the VIX go higher? Yeah, it can. Folks, it was at 90 I was in the Board of Trade. I was in the SIBO. I was in both buildings because I was going back and forth covering this thing. The VIX was up at 90, and it was a financial situation. Did you see, what's his name, the Fisher? One of the Fed lieutenants last week. Guy hit him right between the eyes in an interview. It was Joe Kernan on CNBC. He's like, so does the Fed printing money cure coronavirus? Did you hear what he said? He's like, uh, the dude's already pasty white. He got whitey-er. And he said, well, no, but maybe, can help a little bit. Or look, they essentially admitted they're trying to prop up equities, the Federal Reserve is. But Joe Kernan did a nice job by saying, hey, man, so you guys can cure the coronavirus, right? You just kind of grab some ink and some paper and, you kind of cure it, right? And the guy looked at him. He's like, holy shit, look at these puts, $19,600. And we're going to go lower. So, yeah, guys, go over to the S&P 500. It's up to you, man. This is trading. I don't want to hear. I told you guys for 2-3 weeks that I had S&P 500 puts on, long volatility, and this is go to the end of the day. I got Feb 28s, and I went down to 3,200. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, this is this is no man's land. This is World War I trench warfare. There's the Allies, there's the Germans, and the market will not want to hang in between here. We might get a dead cat bounce tomorrow, back up to the 50 and hover around. We are going lower. Nothing has gotten better. It is horrific, this virus. It is a level 4 that was designed to be a biological weapon to kill, not necessarily totally kill. They were working on a vaccine for it, folks. They wanted to use it to end the protest in Hong Kong and invade Taiwan. Okay, so guys, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to ignore everything everybody's saying because there's 1,000 questions flying around. I'm going to give you my brief. Usually in a brief, you don't say a word. Why? Because it should cover all of your questions. Like, what do I think about Apple? What do I think about Apple? When you logged in, I have a ton of Apple puts on. Apple is in a freaking world of hurt, as we predicted. So let me brief. I owe the President of the United States of America an apology. This is probably the the worst thing I've ever seen about the deep state and people, folks, politicians don't run this government. You clearly understand that, right? We've seen this in the past 3 years. Who runs the government? It's fat, pasty lieutenant colonels like call me Lieutenant Colonel Vindman and the Ukrainian lady and all these other disgusting bureaucrats who, how dare the American people elect this guy president? I know better what to do than 63 million Americans. Why do I owe the president an apology? For a week and a half, I ripped that guy to shreds as being a hypocrite. Why? Ebola. Obama's an idiot for bringing these infected people back. And what is he, stupid? No wonder. 50 tweets, Fox News, private citizen Trump ripped Obama a new one for bringing back a couple Ebola dudes. Last week, 14 certified infected coronavirus folks brought back to America. Donald Trump did not know. I'm going to tell you, I talked to a buddy yesterday. It's going around the Potomac region that this was on purpose. If you don't think that there are individuals in this government who didn't bring back infected people just to stick it to Trump, you're a fool. I'm going to leave it at that. If you don't think deep state, this is bad. The president, this is the New York Times, folks. So at least the president, even after we're all dead, can at least point back and say, look, even the New York Times said I didn't know about it. If this thing gets out around the country, he did not want these people brought back in. And some fuckhead made the decision to do it. There is a person, you guys who have read my book, this is a disgrace, who was the single point of accountability. We call it the SPA in the military. I don't care if there's a team of people doing something, one person owns it. I want to know who made the decision to let those people back in this country. And if Trump hasn't asked that question, he needs to be removed from office. Somebody, well, we kind of consulted. Nah, I don't want to hear this we shit, CDC dude, Pentagon dude, State Department dude. Everybody shut up. Who made the decision? This is the problem with this government. Trump, furious. Me. And now, when I read this, I was spitting mad. Officials at the State Department decided to bring back in these people. Are you shitting me? So State Department people who don't know that Donald Trump is a germaphobe. He's got Secret Service with Purell all over there. I mean, the dude's a germaphobe. I briefed you on this. Department of State bureaucrats. Well, we figured we'd bring them back. I can't. I'm furious that they brought these people back. It's a disgrace. This thing gets out around America. We find the person that did that made that decision. I'll get my pitchfork. That person needs to be strung up. They endangered every American life. And did they do it to stick it to Trump? Well, I think they did. And at a very minimum, it was incredibly, it's malpractice. Freaking put up massive walls, put a big dome around this country and screw everybody. You're an infected American overseas that went on a cruise ship, suck it up. The cruise ship sank. We'll pretend. I didn't necessarily super agree with Trump when, the Ebola doctors were being flown back here, where he's like, yeah, they went to help people. They should suffer the consequences. I'm like, that's a little much. Over the weekend, this was one of the tipping points, right? I've talked about, we've been laying a bunch of straw on the camel here. Every one of these individual stories in an old market would have caused the Dow to be down over 1,000 points. Here was one of the straws. Chinese scientists are now saying it didn't originate in the seafood market. Folks, I briefed you on this when I was in Vermont a month ago. I flew up to see my mom in New York and then see my son. I told you this. Got it from a buddy. Tom Cotton from Arkansas was out there saying this. So China, ladies and gentlemen, is starting to let little balloons in the air. Hopefully they're not full of coronavirus, but little balloons into the air to go test and prep the battlefield that this was kind of a bad mistake. Chinese scientists find coronavirus did not originate in Wuhan seafood market. See that word? It says Chinese. Where's all my tinfoil hat whiz, you're a conspiracy theorist? Well, those are the people they're getting a margin call in about an hour. This guy's an absolute disgrace. Do not listen to anything that the World Health Organization says. It's not yet a pandemic, despite a tsunami of global cases. Italy, 7 deaths. There are 10 cities in northern Italy that are under quarantine. Italy. We went from a Wuhan and it's just contained to now we're in Italy, folks. Iran. 50 people dead in Iran, which means fill in the blank how many infected. Iran. We knew this was, we knew this. Fidelity, Schwab say some clients experienced technical issues among the 800-point Dow plunge. We've added 300 points to that sell-off. Folks, I told you when this type of thing happens, you're not going to be able to get out of, especially ETF type of positions. The indices are a hell of a lot better to trade. VIX, SPX. This is the type of thing you're going to see as we implode here. Okay? There won't be enough buyers, folks. If everybody wants to sell and get out, who's going to be on the other side? Ain't going to be no market maker. Elaine, absolutely. North Korea still hasn't reported formally one case, and they're full of shit. I'm hearing it's thousands in North Korea are dead. We're going on what? 150,000 dead in China and 1.5 million infected. That was on Friday. Talked to a couple buddies after My friend shot himself. I didn't know this one guy works where he works, and after we talked about Hermit, he's like, dude, I'm not. So exactly, Kevin. This is only phase one. We've been right, man. Goldman, last week, I briefed you on this. What was this? This was the 19th, which was last Wednesday, an accelerated retirement. Goldman, market underestimating coronavirus risk. Correction is looking much more probable. What did I tell you? When Goldman is telling you this, they've already closed their longs and they are in their shorts. It's exactly what happened. Kramer, coronavirus impact on companies could be more severe than thought. Hey, Jim, where you been, dude? Bear Stearns is a steal at $70. 2 days later, it was at zero. Folks, we beat everybody on this. Now, as I've briefed you at Top Gun Options, we're early sometimes. Why? Because we can maneuver early. When it gets to this point, and I have two phone calls that haven't been answered because I guarantee you two of those guys are sitting in investment committee meetings right now. If I was in Chicago, I'd be in the boardroom looking over the intersection of Jackson and LaSalle and going, is this it? When we hit this 50-day moving average with airspeed to the downside, a lot of people had to turn off those black boxes and use their brain, right? And use their brain. God forbid. Anyway, this could be the end for Rocket Man in North Korea. Who's to say he doesn't have it? I briefed you 2 weeks ago that Rocket Man likes ladies. You know, I'm sure they weren't screening any of the ladies that been hanging around him for. He might be now. He might even be infected. Who knows? World Health Organization, China's mouthpiece, calls Iran and Italy cases deeply disturbing. Goldman cuts the GDP forecast. I mean, this thing, this thing is going minute by minute, ticker by ticker. Okay. Now I'm going to wait. Well, we're almost getting tactical, guys. These puts were up 18 grand. If we get margin calls selling into the close, Dow could be down 2,000 points, man. So now I'm going to sit on those puts. Morgan Stanley earlier. If we close below 32.35, systemic selling will become self-fulfilling, folks. Remember, the boxes might be off right now, but as you're sitting in the boardroom in your investment committee meeting, if it closes below that level, those boxes self-turn themselves on and will sell. This is why this is trading, guys. This isn't investing. So if you want to buy some puts for the end of the day or anything like that, knock yourself out. We are in a battle right here. What's 32? What's SPX right now? Well, look, if we close below 32.25, we're 32. Here it is, folks. This is the battle. You're watching. 32.35. We're actually below 32.35. We're at 32.25. We'll see if we close below. If we are going into 3 o'clock, 3:30 with us down here, people will be getting calls from. And remember what happened last week. Who decided right here that the water was freaking fantastic and warm to get in? Mom and pop retail traders. Zero commissions. Come on in, little old lady in tennis shoes. Open a brokerage account. Trade your ass off. It's fine. Look at this market. It can only do. Holy shit. This is why the retail traders hate Wall Street. How many times in the past 2-3 weeks have I said they're walking into an ambush? That's why I said, don't wait for me. Fire. When you see this thing, it's going to, markets go down a lot faster than go down than they go up. When you see what we saw at the open today, you should have been sitting there in your bunny slippers buying puts with both hands and buying VIX calls. If you did that, you are printing money. Ed, that is definitely a threat. I wonder how many Al Qaeda and ISIS people and maybe Iranians are getting deliberately infected so they can travel to the West and kill us. Bullseye. Perry, exactly why I'm pilot in command. It's a great statement there, Perry. Joe, don't you think FXI should be down more? Joe, remember, FXI has a day lag. I'm getting tactical and I shouldn't be. We have a day lag here. Guess what happened? The Asian markets closed last night, right? How many times in the past couple of weeks have I briefed you? Our market closes up. Asian equities open higher on U.S. close. U.S. equities futures are higher on Asian close. We have been, I drew this like 50 times on the screen. We are living in an echo chamber. When Asia opens tonight, Joe, they will be down 5% minimum, in my opinion. It will be one of these. So I was going to talk about a burner trade on FXI or puts here in a couple minutes. But folks, remember when after the new year, when the markets open, the Hang Seng, the Kospi, the Shenzhen, I'm forgetting one of them. $22 trillion the PBOC injected, and the market still went down 8%. So remember, guys, FXI ain't super down right. It's down US-ish. Tomorrow, after Asia opens tonight, I can't wait. I already got my appointment at the gym and everything set up, so my night is clear. I'm going to be sitting here with the popcorn watching Bloomberg and CNBC Asia. I can't wait. Scott pretty much just answered that. If those things implode down 5-10%, Asian markets, the FXI will be down at $39, $38. Might be burner trade time. Let me finish my brief, guys, please. I told you, throttle back with the tactical questions. Hold on. Here's the problem, guys. It's outside of Asia. I briefed you on this, and the stupid, ridiculous Donald Trump statement of it's going to go away in April, like the Fed Josh Brown said on CNBC. It's not going away when the weather gets warmer, folks. Have you not been listening to me? It's got HIV in it. Some Chinese dudes with their chemistry sets kind of tweaked it a little bit. I've told you, folks, some guy with a high school chemistry set could re-engineer smallpox by change the strain a little bit, and 40 million Americans are dead, the CDC says, in a blink of an eye. Not blink of an eye, 3-4 weeks, their computer models say. So how do you if this was a regular coronavirus, folks, like it's the flu, I get when 3 weeks ago people were like, Wiz, you're an idiot. This is just a normal flu thing. Oh, it is? Haven't heard from those people lately. I love when people like rip you to shreds, and then when you are blindingly right and you're printing money, they don't say anything to you and they kind of disappear. Jeff, that's exactly right. Wuhan is around the same latitude as Jacksonville, Florida. It ain't that cold there. I think it snowed once when Susie and I were in Jacksonville, but that was about it. Hold on, let me finish and then we'll start looking at stuff. So this, a little bit of a dead cat bounce here. I would not be aware of any of these. So, margin call selling into the close might happen here. All right, what else do I have? So guys, this was Feb 15. I went and rewatched, last week's brief. I was at Jack's hockey tournament, and I told you the White House released this over a long weekend that they don't believe China. Last Tuesday, folks, we talked about this. That's the other reason we got into those Gilead calls, man. Holy crap. Nice 172% gain in a week in those calls. Fantastic. Doc, that's exactly right. Doc's saying the mainstream media is now trying to compare this to the regular flu, saying 30,000 people die every year from flu. It is a bunch of bullshit. The media guys are in overdrive with completely covering up anything. Almost none of you outside of Top Gun Options knew that Tom Cotton, he was on Maria's Future show, but anybody watching CNBC or not me, I mean CBS or like the evening news? Not a peep. It's Trump, it's Attorney General Barr, and Roger Stone, and Bernie Sanders. I freaking love this. This is the end of the Democratic Party for generations. I love it. But I talked about that. Talked about this. This was fantastic. 172% a week is awesome in these calls. I did hear that. What did I get out of these at? I tried to get filled right here. They were up 9,200 bucks, 188% in a week. I didn't get filled on those. I think I got 72 and whatever it was. So yeah, it was an excellent call. But we guys, this is why I'm telling you, and we'll talk about this in full throttle training tomorrow night. Use your brain, man. This is the paper of record. The damn paper's called the Wall Street Journal. So it's the Wall Street Journal. It's the paper of record. When I sat on the train going into work in Chicago, man, everybody's face was buried in it. If it said it in there, it moved the market. So it was a nice sniper shot by me, but you got to be able to use your brain here. And somebody said, yeah, I forget the name of their drug. It begins with an R. I heard also another report today that this might be the only one that's potentially capable of curing this. So let's look at what GILD did today. Look at that, man. That is fantastic. It's actually holding up pretty well. I got out right around here. It drifted down a little bit. So yeah, so somebody asked earlier, what's the profit target on Gilead? I don't know what your profit target is. Mine, anytime I've done a debit spread or bought calls, what have I said? Anytime you can double your money inside of a week or outside of a week, close the trade. Okay. Or just use 100%. If you made 100% profit on something, pigs get slaughtered. Now this was a gap move. I mean, hell, if it was 100% on Friday, I probably would have closed it on Friday. Now it, was up 188% like I just showed you. So, yeah. When did they post that, Tavo? I didn't see that. Zero Hedge is reporting 53 cases. Guys, I am every tinfoil hat thing that I briefed on you and has come true. CDC 39 of them. Wait, hold on a second. I thought we only had 14 coming from the diamond princess. So not only did some piece of shit unelected bureaucrat allow 14 infected people back in, there was more than 14. And we said that. I am furious. We need to know who made the decision to let these infected people back into this country. You saw the CDC 2 weeks ago, folks. Let a lady who was infected out of Marine Corps Air Station Miramar to Scripps Ranch or whatever hospital. She's fine. Back into quarantine, running around with hundreds of people on the Marine Corps Air Station. And oh, by the way, she's positive. Whoops. Telling you, man, if you don't have your supplies, you don't have your AR-15s, first of all, you don't need too many supplies when you have a lot of AR-15s. I already know all the anti-gun people in my neighborhood, and they're not going to have a lot of supplies. So, Randy, first time since 1995, China cancels top political meeting as virus crisis worsens. Oh, man. Ed, Johns Hopkins COVID-19 site has been down for a while. That doesn't instill confidence. So, all right, now let's get tactical. Last week, and like I said, Friday morning, I was sitting in the back of an L39, managing my trades. Got out of all the stuff, and then up in Vero Beach, I'm like, holy shit, that was. I needed to give you guys a heads up that I wasn't well, technically I was traveling, but I wasn't like well, I guess going up the coast. In the L39 is traveling, so I got to give you guys a better heads up when I did that. Kevin, you can't. We have 218 people in the room right now. If we're over 218, if we're over 200, we have to be in Go to Webinar. When we're under 200 members, we're in Go to Training. So I think solo Amazon. That's why we're keeping under 200. So I have to read all this shit, so you can't see it. No worries. All right, let me get tactical here. One more question. On the Gilead options, thoughts on rolling to, say, 73 cent for a credit versus closing the trade. Renee, I don't roll. Screw it. I close it, take those chips, and I put them in my pocket, and they're profit. If your commit criteria are still valid for, I think it's going to go up higher, I take some of those chips out and put them up here. Do not take a 172% winning trade and then tomorrow, I don't know, just one of their competitors announces a cure and Gilead's down 10%. Do not roll calls, period. That's me. Renee, up to you. So you asked my thoughts on rolling, 0, negative thoughts. Close the trade, put on a new one. That's me. Hold on. All right, so I'm not filled. So here's the deal. So a couple new trades as you guys came in here. You bet, Renee. Space. Got it, bud. It's awesome. Like I said, long career from Wall Street to the military, businesses, charities, buddy at NASA. They are already, folks, remember, we got international astronauts, we got space station, we got, what if this thing got, holy shit, that just hit me. What if this thing gets on the space station? That's not what my buddy up the street, or all the way up the street, near the Cape told me. He's like, dude, since space is, well, I'm not going to talk about that. Here's what I'm going to say. My commit criteria are space is absolutely insane. It was the Tesla insanity. This thing's going to come back to Earth in the upper teens. If they are, I'm already seeing the Japan starting to prep the battlefield. What was it, 2 weeks ago? We will never cancel the Olympics today. We're thinking London's already doing the whole, we'll take it. And then I already heard London come back a couple days later and say, actually, we were kind of drunk. We won't take it if everybody's going to be diseased. Space. This is a technical play. You guys know I hate technical analysis, but if the market's going to get pounded down a couple thousand points and go into bear market territory, this thing is going to get destroyed back down to earth. If they're canceling all sorts of stuff, I just don't see space launches going on. Thing. That's the other, Johnny. Yep. It's BMO right before market, or no, AMC after market close. There are earnings tomorrow, and somebody who I talked to said if they come up and because it is, if it's not asked on the conference call, it'll be a disgrace. So this is also a potential earnings trade. If it doesn't come up on the call, like, hey, what about, there's stuff being canceled all over the place, and a lot of these parts, folks, that go into the Virgin thing. This isn't Virgin ain't all built in America. First of all, the dude's a Brit, sir, and they might not be getting everything that's needed from overseas to finish stuff that they need for launches. That's the bet. And I will use the term bet because you guys know I really don't like gambling, but when it's an informed bet, I don't mind it. Okay, so I would not do this, first of all, if you don't like earnings trades, which I hate, but this is kind of like the Apple and Amazon earnings, especially the Amazon earnings last time. I'm like, people were like, oh, I heard they're going to front load all their costs and it's going to be this massive loss and Amazon's going to implode. I'm like, I don't think so. I think it's going to be the best earnings period ever for Amazon. Gap up, destroyed earnings. So do not do this if you don't like any of that stuff. So, but since it's on the screen, I want to brief you on it. Okay, Apple. Let's get to Apple. I'm in some Apple puts. The March 13, 287.5. Apple is sitting here where? Right where I told you it would sit when the shit hits the fan. 300. I've told you for 2 months that this is the quote institutional, kind of support line. It's a round number. It's through the 50-day moving average. This is the breakwater here. If it closes below 300 today, it's lookout below. There are countless. We've talked about Apple for a month here, guys. We've done great iron condors. Great iron condor last week. Got out in the back of an L39 for like 89%, whatever it was. Nice profit. If I had stayed in that trade, the Apple imploded on Friday, right? There's a lot of people in investment committee meetings right now. If you are a massive hedge fund with a large Apple position, what do? We've drawn on this white space for about 3 weeks. What? I've drawn this and I've done that. The market was completely discounting. Well, now I can move it over to here, discounting this. Last week we briefed China's fatal dilemma. Folks, what's China's fatal dilemma? Ordering people back to work. What happens? They get infected. China telling people not to work. What happens? Their country implodes and is destroyed. If you don't think the Pentagon, the CIA, and other alphabet agencies are contingency planning around the fall of Xi Jinping, you're nuts. It is getting, we might see civil unrest. I'm not shitting you when I say this stuff, folks. If you're not, and if you don't think what's happening in China can't happen here, we got 300 million guns in this country, folks. I told you this stuff was going to happen. And I do not. That's exactly right, Joe. That's a great way to put it. First one who sells Apple wins. That's the point. So kind of like space, this is my Apple at those puts underneath 300 is a little bit of, it's, folks, at the end of the day, the so-called smart money is ignoring math. We nailed this, man. This was another career call. This was another great time for TGO where I said they are wrong. The market only cares when it cares. They're going to care at a certain point, and here it is. Okay? So with an entire country shut down, how do they make money? Bill, you got it. What is the one thing that China fears most? You bet, civil unrest. And guess what, Bill? You know how they were going to try and quell civil unrest in Hong Kong and Taiwan was with this thing, and it got out. So be very, very careful where we are. Tamara, not enough coffins to go around in South Korea already. What about a week or a month from now? Ooh, man. I didn't know about that. Craig, I don't know. I got to be honest with you. The whole, what about imports from China, the infections and stuff like that? I ask a question. It's not just because remember SARS and all this stuff. Well, you can't get it this way. You can't get it this way. This thing's airborne, folks. Breathing, touching, it's airborne. What if it's on crap? I just don't. We talked last week about China, the central bank ordering money to be burned. They're burning money, folks. So if it can be on money, how can it not be on stuff? I just don't. I don't get it. I don't get it. I was looking at maybe doing. Let me copy this trade. Copy a bear call spread on Gilead. Okay. So the good news is kind of out here right now on Gilead, in my opinion. Okay. Joe, I don't know. Maybe Doc, you can answer some of the docs in here. I actually saw the other day that they are increasing in some countries. It's not a 14-day quarantine. It needs to be it needs to be double. Well, a couple countries are going to 27 days. I'm like, why don't you just double it and make it 28? Who's the weird guy that dropped? Well, it's 13 extra. What? How about we put these people on a frickin' island? And I can't believe now the CDC saying 53 in America. That makes me furious. Where is Donald Trump? He is in. Oh, Tamara was it? Oh, North Korea's using 28 days. Well, I'm glad I'm lined up with the thing. Jeff, I'm already concerned about my Chinese supplies that are backed up and coming. We are not going to touch for a while. Oh shit, man. Yeah. Yep. Jeff, tinfoil hat. If you search for it, there are several companies that reported that China has placed an order for 1 million body bags. Wow. Unbelievable. Richard, I'm curious about your opinion on inflated costs of options for weeklies. Don't you worry about volatility crush on puts when dead cat bounce happens. Richard, I take issue with one word in your questionnaire. Anybody want to tell me what word I have an issue with Richard? I'll read it again. I'm curious about your opinion on inflated costs of options for weeklies. Don't you worry about volatility crush on puts when dead cat bounce happens. Nope. When? Richard, when's the dead cat bounce? Exactly. And most of you guys were saying crush, inflated. No. The word when. Somebody tell me when the dead cat bounce is. Guys, and I got to get going because I got to get ready for solo Amazon. We'll talk about a Gilead bear call spread in a second here. But folks, this is I don't know. So again, let me start by doing that. There's your answer is the question mark because I don't know. I'm telling you, based on the unanswered phone calls and texts that I have out, there are a lot of people in a lot of rooms right now going, is this the big one? I don't know. Like we've talked for 10 years, folks, at Top Gun Options, I've told you that these things are magnets, right? The moving averages are magnets. We could get a dead cat bounce tomorrow up to the 50-day moving average. I don't know. Or going into the close, little old lady in tennis shoes gets a nice call from E-Trade's risk management department, or not even a phone call. She's going to get an email that says, if you don't liquidate some positions by 2:32, we're doing it for you. And we might see that. Guys, I don't know. Okay. I'm going to sit on my hands a little bit here to see if we do sell off into the close, and I'm going to close those puts and take some profit. So be very, very careful. I don't know if there's going to be a dead cat bounce. Okay. And remember, and so how many times in my career, guys, or how many times have you been a TGO member when I have done this, something like this, and put it over here, and it's happened? Probably about 95% of the time when I do one of those things. The most recent time was with all the Fed stuff. My God, remember those days? Implosion, dead bat bounce, implosion to the 50. If there's a dead bat bounce tomorrow, today, what is the bullish reason for it? The CDC came out and said, we were lying. There aren't 53 people infected. It's 0. No. Is it because Apple is coming out today and saying, you know what, we're making handsets like crazy, nobody's sick over there? The answer is no. It would be a technical bounce. You guys know exactly what happened. And then the bounce after that was what? 1, 2, 3 day short squeeze and then level. And then central banks just went, holy shit, here's the kitchen sink. And I've had 50 tabs open over the weekend. It crashed one time. The one was the interview from the Dallas chief when Joe Kernan said, so you guys printing money cures the virus? And the dude looked at him like, you ass, why'd you ask me that on camera? You know, I didn't need a tough question like that. So very long answer to your short question. I have no idea. No idea. All right. Dev, what SPY strikes would you put on now? I wouldn't put on any SPY strikes. I don't trade SPY. I trade SPX. I don't know why anybody would be trading SPY. SPY, ladies and gentlemen, is an ETF, and you ain't going to be able to get out of it. Let me cover this real quick, folks. Gilead bear call spread. I'm going to sell into the spot because I believe that the Gilead good news is out for the week, that, hey, maybe these guys might have a cure. Remember, you get a gap move on a news announcement like that, like they might have something, and then it ends up petering out. Unless they come out between now and Friday and say, no, we really super have the cure. Bear call spread, Gilead, out to Friday, selling 150 of Friday's 73.5 calls. It's $1.50 higher from here. It would need another super rally like today to get up there. I just don't think it's going to happen. Tomorrow, folks, we will talk about FXI. Oh shit, I'm running out of time here, guys. I'll put this trade on the page. The risk of this trade is risking. It's one of my standard credit spreads. Risking 53 to make 23. Here's why I'm rushing through this. And I'd go 15 cents plus or minus 3 cents, maybe eject at 30 cents. The reason I'm rushing through this is because I want to talk about FXI. Whoops. FXI. Listen, Kevin. Oh, did you just get an email from that? Oh, they're curbing the futures CME Group U.S. equity index price limits. The circuit breaker provision. When was that sent out to you via email or something like that? Huh. All right. Okay. So FXI, folks, it isn't like I said a little while ago. This is an America gap down. This is us trading the ETF now. If Asia opens, and it's I already said all this stuff, folks. This is a potential burner trade here. The PBOC jumped in to save capitalism, and the market still went down 8% after they opened after the Lunar New Year. The Dow closing potentially down 1,000 points in America is going to cause Asian equities to implode. Period. Could be wrong. Wiz, you were wrong. The Chinese government came out and said if the markets open lower here, everybody dies. I don't know. They could, but this is a potential great burner trade opportunity. You have to have solid commit criteria, and I just gave it to you. If U.S. equities close at the low of the day, Asia is going to open blindingly red, which means FXI could be this. I just showed you on the ping pong. I drew on the screen. Open, open, open. It's an echo chamber. So this could be a potential burner trade opportunity. Buying some, and what's the bottom of this Keltner channel here? We hit 39. Close that. 39. That's 40. It's 39 and a half. Maybe buy some puts at the bottom of this Keltner channel. Okay. And I would go out. I mean, usually when I buy puts on something, I like to do it, give it a little bit of time to work. If we're going to implode, it's going to on Asia. It's going to be this week. It's either going to be a bloody week or we're going to get a dead bad bounce. So let me say this: do not be a straight put buyer of puts on the iShares Large Cap China ETF if you're going to be pissed that the puts don't make some money. Period. I already put a question mark on the screen. So don't buy puts on FXI if you think we're going to have a dead bad bounce, which we could. A lot of these times where I've never seen, 2 years, 3 years, a Dow down 1,000 points. Now remember, we're Dow 30,000, whatever the hell we're at, or 28,000. That's percentage wise, it's a drop in the bucket. If this were 30 years ago, Dow down 1,000 points, we'd be at zero. So always remember kind of where we are. But don't buy puts on FXI if you're going to think there's something. Yeah, exactly, Chuck. FXI, just position size accordingly and play what. Yeah, this is, and I started this webinar by saying this. I'm going to end it. Sorry, we went half an hour too long, but this was needed on a day like today. Yeah, well, now we're starting to accelerate. So, yeah, buy. This is. I started the webinar with saying this. This is trading. This is not investing. So, if again, agreed, needed. Thanks. Exactly. So, guys, again, when Uncle Wiz puts a question mark on the right side of a screen, for most of you, and again, I can't give you individual advice. For most of you, that means sit there, grab the popcorn with a nice big Coke on ice, and watch. But if you want to take shots of opportunity, this is the market to do it. There is a distinct possibility that we get a dead bat bounce tomorrow. There's also the distinct possibility that China implodes tonight and we open up imploding. I don't know. That's why I'm saying this is trading, not investing. Okay, but again, this is the weekly options brief, and these are the times to take those aggressive shots of opportunity. Okay, so. And I would have, I guess, well, again, the margin call stuff hasn't gone out. These puts are still up 12 grand. They were up 19 earlier, so gave up about 17 of that. But we'll see. But yeah, FXI. What did I say? At the bottom of the Keltner channels where I'd buy them. Where's the chart? And then, yeah, we got solo. Hopefully, what was it? Last week or the week before, I said buy Amazon puts. I don't think I'd ever say that in my life. I told you last week, buy Amazon puts. So thank God we bought Amazon puts. 39 and a half. Thanks, Perry. Yeah, 39 and a half-ish, maybe even 39. I mean, if we're going to get a drill bit underneath it, let's look at the 39s out the next Friday. Buy. And I do about 5 grand of these, man. 150, 175, 165. I'm buying 165 of next Friday's 39 puts on FXI. Nicole, if the margin calls go out, will SPX go up? God, no. Guys, all right, since Nicole asked, somebody else might have that question. Guys, listen to me. If you're a little old lady in tennis shoes and you got a ton of stock on margin or you got a ton of long positions open and 230 rolls around, and you get a call that says, hey, Nicole, you need to liquidate. This is a margin call. You need to come out with 25 grand pretty damn quick. And if you don't, we're going to close some of your closing positions, folks. When people start closing positions, and guess what? Guess what it says on page 92 of your brokerage agreement? Where do you think your broker, if you don't do it, closes those positions out? At the best price for you? The answer is no. Most likely at the market, or most likely at a price that they get paid for order flow and they make money off of you losing money. But that's between us girls, which we'll talk about full throttle. So does everybody understand that? If there is forced selling going into the close because of margin calls, the market will accelerate down into the close. Everybody give me a vertical head nod. Does that make sense? Nicole, does that make sense? Hopefully that's not going to happen to anybody in this room because you got some great puts on. So you're welcome, Arthur. Yeah, I extra time today just because it was needed. So sorry about it going long, but yeah, I'm getting some FXI puts on there. All right, I will see you. Yeah, exactly, Doug. Schwab closed my Apple puts 15 minutes before the close. Exactly, guys. Remember, unless you're on the phone talking to the folks like, hey, man, I got this thing. Don't touch it. And even me, well, if you have a larger account, you can usually trade what you want. But if you're not very actively talking to your broker on days like today, you're going to wake up tomorrow with a lot of different shit than you thought you had, and you're most likely not going to be happy at it. So if you get an email that says, hey, man, you need to start managing some shit because you need some coin, do it, because they will close you out of stuff. It says it. You can't get pissed at them. You agreed to it. I guarantee you. They'll close it out, and it's not going to be advantageous to you. Okay. So if we sneeze, we're going to go down we will go down through 1,000 on the Dow, and it'll accelerate. Okay. So, all right, guys, I got to go. I got to get ready for solo Amazon. And I am calling that dude back. All right, guys, I got to go. I'll try and get all this stuff up as quick as I can. All right, guys, I'll talk to you in solo Amazon if you're in it. See ya.